it's Sal here. Welcome back to another perfume video. I hope you're doing well. So in today's video we're going to be having a look at 7 extremely realistic, yummy, gourmand fragrances. These are perfumes I would recommend to you if you are wanting to smell like a snack. Some of these literally smell so realistic to me, I can't quite believe it, and they're all very delicious indeed. It's time to grab yourself a drink and a snack and get comfy. Let me know in the comments section below what your drink of choice is if you have one. Today I'm just sipping on some English breakfast tea with milk and sugar, of course. So the first extremely realistic gourmand fragrance that I want to talk about today is Chocolate Greedy from Montale. Now this is an incredible fragrance and it's one that I have sort of debated on and off whether to actually purchase it. I'm not quite sure why I haven't actually purchased it yet. It is one that I really enjoyed sampling, and to me it honestly smells like freshly baked chocolate chip brioche like buns. That's the only way I can really describe this to you. It smells exactly like freshly baked sweet, you know, brioche rolls. That's exactly what it reminds me of, and it's just, I was quite taken aback at just how realistic this smell was. It smelled like a bakery, you guys. It smelled like an absolutely delectable, freshly baked batch of these warm, sweet, like brioche buns, but obviously there's like chocolate notes in the fragrance, so maybe they would have chocolate chips in them. It was just an extremely realistic smelling fragrance, you know, up there with one of the most realistic like food smells, you know, that I've ever smelled. And I would certainly say, you know, if you're a fan of your like comforting, cozy, sort of cozy jumper type of fragrances, if you like chocolate, of course, if you like vanilla, anything kind of like that, and you want just a true gourmand fragrance, definitely give it a try. I believe you can actually order samples from Notino. That's where I ordered mine. So yeah, you can order samples first if you're not like 100% sure, but it is very like extremely gourmand, if you know what I mean. So if you're wanting something a bit more like balanced, blended, and like perfumey, then I wouldn't even recommend that one, because it literally to me just smells like food. It just smells like brioche buns. So it's an interesting experience, because you spray it and you wonder, what's that baking smell? Do you know what I mean? It's not even like you've sprayed a fragrance, it's like you've actually smelled a Parisian bakery. You know what I mean? It's one of those amazing gourmand scents. So that is Chocolate Greedy from Montale. Oh, apologies if my hands are looking a bit blue. I did put a jumper on to kind of warm up a bit. It's a bit cold in here. Like I'm not feeling cold, but I just feel like my hands are kind of blue, so many apologies for that. Next up today we have a fragrance from the house of Bel Rebel, and it is just called Bubblegum. So of course you kind of know what you're getting with this one. Sprayed some on my wee test strip there. But again, this is another one that I was, oh my gosh, I can smell that in the air. This is another one that I was taken aback with, if you know what I mean. I was just taken aback at how realistic this one really is. I mean, from the smell right down to like the texture, you know, that slight powderiness, that is honestly mouth-watering. You know, the slight powderiness that you get around a piece of bubblegum, you know, this has that texture to it. It genuinely smells exactly like a pink Hubba Bubba bubblegum. Like, it's actually so delectable, I can't even explain to you. I mean, again, you can order a wee sample and check this one out for yourself. It's something to behold, it's a real experience. And I can just see this really appealing to a lot of people who either already love bubblegum or just somebody who's a fan of like the smell of sweeties. Just such a fun, happy type of scent, you know. It's not taking itself seriously in the sense that it just smells like a sweetie. Like, it genuinely smells like bubblegum to the point where I can't quite believe it. It's so realistic. I mean, this smells more like bubblegum than bubblegum itself. Just incredible, you guys. Let me know if you've tried this one. They're kind of, I think they're a newer niche house, or they're not super well known. They're kind of newer to me anyway. This is one of those fragrances that will literally have your mouth watering. It smells that realistic and it's just so delectable. So that is Bel Rebel's Bubblegum. Next up today we have a kind of interesting one actually, and it's probably not, well, let me know in the comments, right, but it's probably not the type of scent that you would normally class as a gourmand scent, but it is to me. And that perfume is Lorenzi Intense from Givenchy. Again, I was taken aback with this one because it smells exactly like a black sesame mochi dessert that I had once. I mean, I love mochi, but once I tried one that was actually flavoured with black sesame. You know, it had the black sesame paste in it and everything, and this has your note of sesame, of course. This has your vanilla, your tuberose, your black pepper, your vetiver, your patchouli, you know, maybe a bit of orange blossom as well. But this all together, it's basically like that dessert to me. The level of sweetness in here is identical. The kind of thick, slightly powdery but chewy texture that this fragrance has, it just reminds me of that mochi dessert. Like, everything about this is that dessert to me. And it's absolutely mind-boggling, you guys. It really is. It just reminds me so much of that dessert. That's quite a unique thing as well, because it's quite a specific thing, really. I mean, I can't think of any other fragrance that would remind me of that. Very special, and I just love this one. It's a fragrance. Wow, that's amazing. This is a fragrance that actually took me quite a while to even bother trying, because I just assumed that I wasn't gonna like it. I didn't like the sound of the black pepper. I was a bit sort of dubious about the sesame notes, to be honest, because I kind of thought I don't really want this strange sort of smell. But it's just, oh my goodness, it's just the smoothest, creamiest, most beautifully balanced, sweet, sophisticated fragrance, and I adore this one even more than the original Lorenzi. You know, and I would say this is my favourite from the whole line, and I actually really enjoy that line, you know, the Lorenzis. Lorenzi Rouge is very nice as well. It's very sweet and kind of slightly warming, you know, but I love this one even more. This is even better to me. This has that kind of uniqueness, but it's still very likeable. It's very feminine. It's beautiful. Oh, and I just absolutely adore it. It's definitely a true gourmand to me, you know, but let me know what you think of this one in the comments section. That is Lorenzi Intense. Next up, of course, we have the beautiful Girl of Now from Elie Saab, and this reminds me so much of a syrupy baklava dessert, you know, with those kind of pistachio nuts like sprinkled on the top and kind of throughout the layers. The very sweet pastry, the sweet syrup, of course. It just, everything about this reminds me of that dessert. It truly is a perfume version of a baklava dessert, in my humble opinion. And just a little side note actually about this perfume. A subscriber asked me in the comments recently whether this layered with Alien smelled at all like Alien Essence Absolute, and I gave it a try, and it smells like 85% similar to that, you guys. It really does. I know this is slightly unrelated, but I just wanted to mention, like, if you own this fragrance and you also own Alien, just like spray equal parts of each one and like on top of each other, and to me it smells very similar to Alien Essence Absolute. I don't really know, it's probably not really gourmand, that type of fragrance, but I just wanted to mention that because quickly mention that because it was really incredible to me just how similar that was and how stunning they smelt together. So that was like a little side note. But yeah, this one on its own definitely reminds me of like a luxurious, nutty, syrupy dessert. It's the kind of scent that, to be honest with you, I do have to be in the mood for it, otherwise it can be like slightly nauseating if I sprayed this like and I wasn't totally on board with that mood, you know, and if I sprayed this it would be a bit nauseating for me personally. So it is very like intensely sweet and syrupy. So for all the reasons it could be this like stunning, addicting gourmand, it could also be like nauseating for the same reason if I wasn't in the mood for it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I enjoy layering this one now with my Alien, of course, and occasionally like I will wear this sort of on its own. If I am in the mood for it, I'll wear it more, but it kind of just depends really. But it's certainly a very true gourmand scent, and that is Elie Saab, Girl of Now. Next today we have Xerjoff's Italica, and this is a really, really realistic gourmand scent to me. It was a bit hit and miss with me, like at the start we've had a bit of a bumpy journey, but this fragrance, I would say I really do enjoy it now. It's a solid like. I would give it maybe, you know, as far as how much I enjoy it, I would give it maybe a 7 out of 10. You know, I do quite enjoy the scent now, but I wasn't quite sure about it at first. It was kind of this very like almondy, dry type of fragrance, and it almost smelled a bit dusty to me. It kind of reminded me of a scented candle, and I wasn't quite sure about that at first, but it's definitely grown on me. I would say now it reminds me more of, say, like a cinnamon cookie, you know, something like that, like a cinnamon and almond freshly baked kind of cookie, which is obviously very beautiful. It's not really giving me so much of those scented candle vibes anymore because I've like persevered with it and it's kind of grown on me and things like that. This is a really nice, like quite luxurious smelling gourmand, I would say. Out of all of these, this one smells quite luxe just because of that spiced saffron sort of aspect in there, the very like rich, thick, slightly powdery, crumbly like texture of it. It really does remind me of cinnamon cookies. It's really beautiful. It kind of also reminds me of a sweet chai latte as well, actually. I do believe there's like a milk note and a vanilla note and woody notes as well in here that when they all come together, it's kind of like reminiscent of a chai latte with your like cinnamon sprinkled on top with your like cookies on the side. That's sort of what this fragrance gives me, and it's really very nice. I do enjoy it, but I'm probably quite glad that I went for the 30ml as opposed to the 100ml, let's just say that. Next today we have a fragrance from the house of Juliannas Perfume, and it is A Night to Remember. And this is a dupe for Kilian's Love Don't Be Shy. And basically this fragrance reminds me exactly of a beautiful sweet pink fluffy marshmallow. It really is a stunning one, actually. You know, obviously because this is a dupe, either this one or the Love Don't Be Shy would apply to this. You know, they both give me that very distinctive marshmallow-like quality. Wow, oh my goodness. This is truly incredible, actually. I love this scent so much. I actually forgot how much I enjoyed this. So yeah, it's almost like somewhere between a marshmallow and maybe like a Turkish delight. It's that kind of vibe, very fluffy, quite powdery, very, very feminine, very, very flirty, just edible, you know, absolutely the type of thing that you just want to like sink your teeth into. Absolutely incredible. Lasting power and everything is really good with this one. I believe it's also fairly good with the Kilian version as well, but this is the one that I own. I really do love this fragrance. I would really recommend this one, and funnily enough, it's not actually sickly to me, and I don't know why, because I mean obviously the smell of a marshmallow, which is basically what this is, you might think that that would be kind of nauseating, or like, you know, you would have to be in the right mood for it and stuff like that, but this to me is quite easy to wear. To be fair, you know, there may be a time when, like for example, if I'm not in the mood for a sweet perfume, then I wouldn't reach for this, but you know, most of the time I would feel quite comfortable reaching for this one, more so than my Girl of Now. Actually, like I have to be really in the mood to wear this one because it's quite like heavy and syrupy, but this one here to me is easier to wear. Very beautiful, very, very flirty, absolutely stunning for something like an intimate sort of situation or a date night or any day when you just want to smell irresistible, you know. I would give this one a try for sure. and that is a night to remember. And last up today, but by no means least, is this stunner right here, Trésors à la folie from Lancôme. Now, boy, do I have a lot to say about this fragrance. I mean, a lot of you were talking about this in the comments section of my best blind buys video. Actually, I really noticed how many of you were discussing this fragrance, and it really is worth talking about in my opinion. So a few of you were saying that it reminds you of vanilla spiced sweet eggnog, and you know, others were sort of mentioning the mulled wine comparison. Warm mulled wine, very sweet, and you know, mingling with the smell of Christmas baking. That's really what this gives me. And something interesting, you know, I was asked by a few of you actually about the lasting power of this one, and I think from what I've gathered there's like mixed opinions on this, but for me personally, like my bottle, you know, this lasts quite well on me. This lasts basically all day. It's definitely not as potent as the original Trésor, I will say that. If you're expecting this to be the same sort of strength as the original Trésor, then you might be disappointed. This one is just normal. This is like probably a 7 or an 8 out of 10 for longevity and projection, whereas the original Trésor is more of like a 10 or 11. Like it's off the scale to me. It's just so potent. But like, in my experience, this has lasted very well on me. I will spray maybe around 5 or 6 or 7, I can't quite remember. I'll spray just like a normal amount, and it will last basically all day on me. So it gets a thumbs up from me from that point of view, but I know that it can kind of vary. So I would say, you know, if you can sample it first, I probably would. It was a successful blind buy for me, to be honest. I blind bought this and it was quite a big risk, you know. And it worked for me, but to be honest, if you could sample it, I probably would, because just because I've heard really mixed opinions on like the lasting power and things like that. But the smell itself is just, it's really beautiful actually. I have to be in a specific mood to smell literally like food, if you know what I mean, like the Elie Saab fragrance or the Italica fragrance even, or especially the Bel Rebel Bubblegum and like Chocolate Greedy. I'd have to be in a very specific mood to actually like wear that fragrance, because to me they just smell like food. Whereas this one here is still a beautiful perfume. It's still quite perfumey, but I wanted to mention it in today's video just because it really is such a stunning gourmand fragrance, and it does embody all of the things that I mentioned, like, and it's such a beautiful one for the Christmas time for all of the reasons I mentioned as well. And it's just, oh, it's just absolutely stunning. You'll need to let me know if you've tried this one, what you think of it. I think it's quite an unusual one because it has very interesting notes in there. You have your violet, you have your rose, your benzoin vanilla, your nutmeg. I believe there's some red berries as well in the opening. There might even be some pear. I mean, there's a few fruits as well. There's woody notes, vanilla. It's just such a good one, you guys. I really do like it. It's quite rosy as well. Like, it's a stunning fragrance, but it's also very gourmand, and I just love this one. So that is Trésor à la folie from Lancôme. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what are some of your favourite realistic gourmand fragrances. Let me know of any that I might not know of. You know, it's always interesting to get some recommendations from you guys. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then you may also enjoy these other videos that I will leave up on the screen here for you. Take care, and I can't wait to see you again very soon on my next video. Bye!